Welcome to Terrace Neighbors, the Terrace House podcast. I am Taylor.
And I'm Courtney.
And this is our third episode. Yay!
Woo!
We made it.
So far, anyway.
Yeah. I'm not sure why the third episode is such a big deal, but we've done two of them.
Yeah, it's more than one. So
it's more than
three.
One, exactly.
All right, so let's see. Today, we're going over episode 4, In Tears Again.
Yep.
And unlike the title, this episode's actually a little bit more fun than last week.
I really want to apologize for last time. I mean, I know we were just working for what we had, but it definitely was, there weren't many jokes. And
it was a bummer.
It was a bummer. I mean, if you decided it was not a good episode, please hold Yuki personally accountable. Don't blame.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault. If he had been a good sport and, like, you know, not been a jerk face,
he could have actually enjoyed his own birthday without making people cry.
Yeah,
there would have been that.
Most importantly, us. He wouldn't have made us cry and our listeners.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit selfish of him. Also, just a heads up, Courtney, I forgot to mention this, but I had set the podcast explicit rating to clean. Because we're not huge swearers, either of us.
No.
So just
try not to anyway, but with Yuki, I get kind of angry. So.
Yeah.
Just try to... You can edit me if I lose my way.
Okay. It's just a heads up. I realized I had set that and didn't tell you. So no swears.
Okay. Although I think I did swear in the last episode.
You did. I'm probably gonna cut it out. Just like...
That's fine.
Do that Gwen Stefani style, like... Shh.
That works.
Kat, you don't get to talk to me right now. I'm doing something very important. Okay.
All right. So let's see. As usual, the hosts are going over, kind of recapping the last episode. They kind of go over the good vibes with Minori and Makoto and their run date. Yeah. And also about Yuki and how he makes everyone cry and how Mizuki felt.
Yeah, they made this reference to, like, when Mizuki's lying with her head back on the couch as, like, an Asa no Atsuko moment.
Is she like a J-pop person?
She apparently, I looked her up because I hadn't heard of the name. She's like an actress who did a bunch of dramas in the 80s. So it's sort of, I mean, for the picture, she seemed very, like, she looks a little bit like Mizuki. She has that similar, like, vibe, that kind of, like, sharp-eyed, like, beautiful, but kind of, like, slightly intimidating quality. I don't know.
Did she do the head leaning back thing
they
were talking about?
I didn't find any pictures of it. I did see a couple of photos where her head was slightly inclined, but it wasn't quite. But maybe that was, you know, that's what we get for not watching 1980s Japanese dramas.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Also, I think out of all the hosts, I can't remember the guy with the glasses that's always sitting next to the...
Yamasato?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like he's a lot more cynical than probably other ones. He's, like, a little more suspicious, especially this episode.
Yeah, that's why I like him, because he's just like, Yuki's not...
Yeah,
cool,
well, it's like, he's, like, not going into it going, like, this is also romantic, and he's like, what game are you playing? What game?
Yeah.
One little thing to add about Asano Atsuko, though, that I, like, got really excited. Like, according to her Wikipedia page, from, like, 2003 to 2010, she had a storytelling series based on the Kojiki, which is this 8th century account of, like, historical matters, like, as it pertains to the gods and the earliest emperors, and it proves the lineage between the sun goddess Amaterasu and the emperor. I won't get into it. I'm very into the Kojiki. I wrote a 20-page paper about it this past semester. I could do a whole other podcast just on the Kojiki, but, like, apparently she would travel around to different temples and then do, like, a storytelling thing from stories from this text. I'm like, that is so cool. I want to watch that next.
I was going to say, yeah. So it's actually like a TV show thing.
I'm not sure if it was actually recorded. It probably was a little bit. Okay, Kat, I swear. I swan to John. I'm not sure if it was recorded, but she did it for, like, 7 years. I think she traveled to, like, 80 different temples.
Oh, okay. I still remember, like, your quick recap, fun telling of the Kojiki, like, the beginning part, and I like to tell people about it, too.
Yeah, I can do a very good recap of some of those basic Kojiki myths, so maybe if we get some listeners and they want to have a special episode where I rant about Amaterasu and Susanoo, and I'll do that.
I'd be down.
Okay. But yeah, back to the actual thing that our podcast is about.
Oh yeah.
So they do their recap and then they go straight into the episode. And guess where they are, Courtney? You're never going to believe it.
On the couch.
Oh my god. Twist. Yeah, it's Minori and Makoto on the couch. So they're going to go on a run.
And they're having, of course, their good vibes going on.
Excellent vibes.
And then, my favorite part of this whole couch session is Makoto suggests that they go out to eat and go get yakiniku.
Which
my
is,
favorite.
Yeah. So Courtney is a yakiniku pro. She could have gone on the competitive yakiniku circuit.
I think I would have beat everyone, so,
yeah,
they just didn't let me compete. Wouldn't have been fair.
So for you, if you don't know, yakiniku is sort of like Korean barbecue where they give you like raw slices of meat and you grill them yourself. What are some yakiniku rules, Courtney?
Well, my personal rules, you can't eat vegetables, you don't eat rice. It's purely meat, only meat. Because if you're eating rice and all this other stuff and other dishes they offer, where's the meat gonna go? There's no space for the meat in your belly. And that's the whole point of yakiniku, is grilling the meat and then eating it directly after dipping in some sauce.
Yeah, you're wasting valuable real estate for this really good meat. And the thing to remember is when Courtney and I were in Japan, we would often go to this like chain of yakiniku restaurants called Gyukaku. They actually have one where I live, in Cupertino. They have a Gyukaku, and when Courtney came to visit me a couple years ago, we went. But you pay per like plate of meat, so it can get pretty pricey. But in Japan, they usually have like a tabe hodai, like all you can eat plan. So it's like you pay, what, 2,000?
Like $20-$30 or something like that.
Up front. And then for like an hour or two, usually like 2 hours, you can order.
You just eat all the meat you can.
You can just order as much as you want. You have like 30 plates and you're probably not going to be able to eat it all, but you're going to try. Dang it.
Exactly. I mean, I wish we had the tabe hodai and nomi hodai here in the States, but I think they might like drink and eat all the restaurants' supplies in like one day if it was in America. So that's probably why they don't do it.
I know. When we would always go as like our foreigner group, and I'm sure we just were like, oh no, it's some Americans.
It's them.
It's them. I remember we went out to I think it was Okonomiyaki, or maybe it was Yakiniku. It was for somebody's birthday. And our tabe hodai plan came with like a dessert. Like, so you could either pick a scoop of ice cream or a scoop of sherbet. And like we couldn't decide, and I guess like the waitress got confused or just like figured it was better to just not deal with us at all. So somehow we ended up where we should have only gotten one scoop, we ended up getting like 3 per person.
Oh, nice.
Do you not remember that?
No, I can't remember. I'm trying to think. It's like, I don't remember us getting 3 or if I just ate other people's.
Well, like, I learned how to drink in Japan, so I was very used to where you go to izakaya and you do a nomi hodai, all-you-can-drink thing, ordering off the touchscreen, and now I'm, like, 25 years old, should be well-versed in this, and I go to one bar, and I'm like, what do you mean I pay for each one? Like, this, what do you mean it's $7?
For one drink.
For one drink. If I were in Japan, I could pay, like, 3 times as much, but get unlimited drinks.
Exactly. And also, like, I don't know the names of any drinks, so drinking in the bars here and stuff, it's like, where's the menu? I don't know anything.
Where's the menu? Where's the description? Can I just get a mango sour?
Yeah.
Do you guys have chuhai? And I remember I went out, they were like, they might have, like, Midori, and I'm like, that's not the same. I need shochu.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
or umeshu or something.
Umeshu. I miss umeshu. I live in Japantown, and so there's a Japanese grocery store, but the only like umeshu they have like in a can is the non-alcoholic kind.
What's even the point?
Anyway, so yeah, Minori and Makoto go out to Yakiniku, and already they failed just the first tenet of Courtney Yakiniku rules.
Oh yeah, because what the heck? She was eating like a salad the whole time. I don't understand.
The reason you went to Yakiniku is because you only had salad in your house.
And then she didn't make it. Whatever. At least Makoto was eating the meat and grilling it and stuff. That's all that matters. Minori, whatever. Like, she's not taking advantage
Yeah,
of what you're paying to get there, but
exactly.
whatever.
And it was really frustrating because they're sitting here and they're having the Yakiniku talks, which are a special kind of talk. Only in Yakiniku
Oh,
can you
yeah.
have the real conversations.
Of course.
Because you have something to do with your hand. That's always the worst part about restaurants is like, what do I do with my hands? Well, here you can just grill more meat. You don't have to eat. You can still talk, but you just grill some more meat.
Yeah.
And like now they admit that Yuki maybe went too far and it was unfair
Yeah.
that was like that nobody challenged him. And I'm like, where were you yesterday?
I know. It was like, yeah, 20 years too late. Come on, guys.
Excuse me. So now you come out and we're like, oh, maybe we did a bad. Yeah, you did a bad.
You did.
You
Mm-hmm.
did a real bad.
And then Minori starts talking about how, like, she's holding back with talking with the girls, which I
Yeah.
kind of didn't really understand. It's like, what do you mean you're holding back?
Well,
You're
like,
talking to each other, but
well, because like Makoto asks Minori who she finds the easiest to talk to, and I think he's kind of speaking like broadly because she says
okay.
she doesn't really answer the question. She says it's not Uchi. Don't worry about it. It's not Uchi. And then they start talking about the girls, and yeah, she says it's like it's easier to talk to the guys than the girls.
Right.
And I wonder if that's sort of because like even though it's not a dating show, it seems like it is very romance oriented.
Yeah.
So the girls are, in a way, your rivals. Like you can make friendships and you can be friendly with each other, but
You're still competing. They're still,
yeah, you're competing. And she says, like, she thinks, like, if the three of them try to talk together, they're just going to talk about boys.
Which, if I think of back, I feel like that's kind of all they really have
Yeah,
talked about.
and then
Who
sort
do
of
you like? Who's your type? All that kind of stuff.
kind of scoping it out. Like, they're not really, it's that classic, I'm not here to make friends. Well, maybe they're not here to, like, make friends. And, like, they go back after dinner, they go back, and Yuriko's eating alone in the kitchen, and they talk about it a little bit more. And, like, Yuriko says that, like, it's because their time together is limited, they need to make more effort to ask questions. And rather than, like, kind of hoping that it naturally develops, like, I think a lot of female friendships tend to be. But I also feel like it's like if you're in this, that limited time thing is pretty apt. It's like I feel like if you're in this house and your goal is to get a boyfriend,
You got to start working quick.
yeah, and you have limited time to develop a relationship with somebody and set yourself apart from the other girls, why would you spend your time hanging out with the ladies?
Okay. Makes sense, I
yeah.
guess.
Could be editing, but I feel like Yuriko kind of brought up a good point, like about asking the questions, because she was doing a lot of the heavy lifting in that conversation with Makoto and Minori. She was like, "Oh, where'd you guys eat?" Like she's
Yeah.
asking all the questions, and Minori's just like sitting there, like looking at, checking out her nails. It's like you're not gonna ask any questions back.
Yeah, I know. She's all asking about their day and how's it going,
Yeah.
and no one else wants to ask. That's the thing. When you're having conversations, it goes both ways. One person asks a couple questions, the other person responds with their questions, allowing that other person to, like, talk about themselves without, being like, here's all my stuff about me, and I'm not going to ask about you.
Yeah, and I feel like Yuriko and Mizuki, like, I know Mizuki's marriage minded, but I feel like she's, Yuriko will get into more later. Like, I feel like she's more just for the experience rather than like meeting somebody new.
Right, just something new to see how you grow from it.
Like, I feel for them, they ask more questions because they want to actually like legitimately build relationships with everybody. But I feel like Minori, like, I don't know, she's just usually sits in the living room and she talks to the guys, and I know she has sort of like that tomboyish quality to her. She does seem like the type who has more male friends than female friends, but I definitely do have noticed that Mizuki and Yuriko, like, my cat's chosen a great time to like play with it, to just jump all over the place.
No, my cat's just, like, sleeping on my shoes by the front door. It's really weird. She's been doing that since last night. She just goes over and lays in them.
Hey, Psycho. You are 11 years old. You are too old to be acting like this. Sorry. But yeah, Yuriko and Mizuki do a lot of, like, the heavy lifting for the conversations. They ask all the questions, and Minori's a little more passive when it comes to talking with the other girls.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Then we jumped to, I know Yuri and Yuki were talking about, because did Yuki get home and the others left? I can't remember exactly.
There's,
but I know
like,
they were
constantly
talking.
people coming and going.
Yeah. I know, like, Yuri and Yuki were talking about Makoto and Minori and, like, well, where do you think they're going?
Yeah.
And their kind of vibes and all that.
And so it kind of feels like at this point that we've had kind of two splits. We have the Yuki and Yuriko on one side and Makoto and Minori
on the other.
and then you have Uchi and Mizuki just sort of like
Honestly, I forget Uchi's even living in this house because I never really see him just kind of randomly like coming to deliver stuff with Minori and they rode a bike. But they didn't show them riding the bike or how it led up to them going on the bike together.
Like, 1 second you think Minori's just gotten back from dinner and done something else, and then all of a sudden she re-enters the room wearing a bike helmet, and Uchi's wearing his bike helmet over a backwards baseball cap. And I'm just
Swag.
like, what new fashion trend have you discovered, Uchi? You got your finger on the Daikanyama pulse. Is this the new look? But yeah, I guess they rode their bike. I mean, they bought some look like laundry detergent or something, but they bought Jenga and Uno.
They didn't even show them playing Jenga though. That's the thing. I was waiting for them to play Jenga, and then it didn't happen.
It's Chekhov's Jenga. If you show Jenga, you have to show them playing it.
Yep. Oh, and then speaking of clothes, I really like, we've already seen it, but I really like Minori's So Tired sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I really want it.
That one, and then in this episode, Makoto has
his hot dog shirt?
And it says Under Armour, so I'm sure it's like, for the brand, but written in mustard on the hot dog.
I feel like it really suits him. It's like, if someone were to wear a hot dog shirt, it would be Makoto.
Like, hot dogs are not really a thing in Japan, but I feel like if any of them would love hot dogs, it'd be
He's a hot dog kind of man.
He's the hot dog boy.
Yep.
And then Mizuki has a work overnight.
Oh yeah, because she's not there.
Yeah, I originally typed, Mizuki has a work overnight, reminding me why I didn't stay after graduating to work for a company. Oh, okay, it's a business trip, that's fine. But I thought maybe she should do like an overnight, like at the company, just like overtime sort of thing. But she's on a business trip to Gunma, which is literally just...
I've been to Gunma.
It's a day trip. I'm sure it's like there was like a game or something they had to go to.
Let's see. Oh, this will also bother me when they're all sitting at the table and talking about stuff. Makoto already mumbles when he talks. He then does this thing where he puts like his hand halfway over his mouth, and then he's still talking. It's like, does he not want to be understood by everyone? Everyone already still goes, huh? Every single time he talks. Like, what are you doing? Come on.
You need to get this boy a speech therapist.
I guess so, or just put your hands down out of your face.
I know, Makoto's like a weird melancholy boy today. He's like in a weird funk.
He seemed kind of down. Because he said he went to go, talk to the coach about something with baseball and stuff.
Yeah, so he tells this story twice. He tells it with the guys. He admits that, like, in college, he, was on the baseball team, but then his second year was like, this is too much hard work. I want to party. So he stopped going to practice. But then after, like, a year or so, he wanted to get back in, so he went to his coach and he apologized, but he had to re-enter the team as an entry-level player, so he was doing drills with, like, the freshmen, and because, we didn't go to, like, a traditionally Japanese college, but we did have a friend who did take classes at, like, a proper Japanese university, and the club culture in Japanese universities is very hierarchical.
Got your senpais and kohais.
Yeah, so you have the senpais and the kohais, the upperclassmen and underclassmen. You usually have to go out and, like, go out drinking and do all these social things together, and it's very, like, who pours the beer for who, and, like, who
stays late to clean up and get stuff ready and all that.
I can't remember. I think he had joined, like, a Kempo karate, like, club.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
And, like, even though at our school he was, like, a third or fourth year, at this school he was treated as, like, a freshman because he was the newbie, and so it was, like, not quite, like, hazing, but there definitely was, like, there were some benefits, like, the old upperclassmen have to look out for the underclassmen, but you definitely, like, I
feel like there's a little bit of abuse that you have to take, being the first year and the newbie and stuff.
Yeah, and you do all the grunt work, and that's what he's talking about. He's like, I'm a third year, I want to start taking baseball seriously again, but I'm over here, like...
doing all the grunt stuff, cleaning things.
Yeah, cleaning things, carrying things, instead of, like, focusing on baseball. So he's, like, now he's in his final year, and he's realizing how little time that he has left to take it seriously.
To actually get a play and stuff, too.
Yeah, and so he kind of, like... he feels bad that he went along with Yuki against Mizuki because, like, his dream of playing baseball professionally is very hazy now, and it's, like, entirely self-inflicted. And so he, he tells the other boys that he's, while very dramatic music plays in the background, that he's, I know, that he wants to apologize because it's like, I guess even if you compare the two, like, he says he only has 2 months to get his, like, baseball career back on track, and so that's, like, really put him back.
It's a short time.
Yeah, and, like, breaking out into the professional business is hard enough, even if you've, like, made a name for yourself.
Yeah.
And so, like, when he talks about wanting to play baseball after he graduates, like, that's a really unrealistic goal. So it's sort of unfair that Mizuki's the one who's put on trial because...
Yeah, that she got ripped on, and I feel like...
Because she doesn't have a 4-point business plan.
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of the reason why he didn't say anything. He's like, oh, yeah, when you guys were, like, going on at Mizuki, I couldn't bring up my thing. But it's like, well, it's because he probably didn't want the fire turned on him because he's even in a worse place, in a sense.
Also probably why Minori didn't say anything and didn't want to participate in that conversation, because...
I mean, she kind of just said, she said some little thing like, I don't know, or
she
whatever.
Like, straight up said, like, I have no idea, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But before they when all the guys sat down before Makoto started talking about his thing, because Yuki, of course, wants to dig deeper and get all nosy, as he usually does.
Blech.
But it bothered me, like, when he sat down, he had his little stupid smirk on his face. And every time I see it...
Multiple times in this episode, they have said nya nya, and I'm just like, that's his smirk.
That's his smirk.
I'm like,
it makes me mad when I see it.
Like, I have a little bit of a cat-like smile, like I have a little corner of my mouth that curves up no matter what, so I can kind of get that's just how his smile is, but it's the whole package.
Exactly. It's just like super villain right here.
Well, it made me laugh is when they cut to, like, the host talking about, this dramatic backstory reveal. Tokui is like, oh, it's like that character from Slam Dunk, like the baseball manga. And Yamasato was just like...
basketball.
And then, what?
It's basketball.
Basketball,
Slam Dunk.
sorry. Yeah, it's basketball. I don't know what sport I said. I blacked out.
It's baseball.
It's the other best sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the basketball manga, and Yamasato just like... Well, yeah, all the slunking, all the...
Slam dunking you do in baseball, yeah.
I'm a mess. I'm sorry. Anyway,
no worries, I got you.
Let's try this one more time. Tokumi brings up Slam Dunk, the basketball manga, and Yamasato's like, just like, it opens the otaku floodgates, and he's just like, I know exactly who you're talking about, and he just goes on like a giant rant about like the nuances of this manga, and I'm like, that's relatable.
It is.
Slunking.
It's the sequel. Slunking.
It's the portmanteau of Slam Dunk. Just slunk.
Slunking.
I'm just thinking about that Tumblr post that was like, take me to Snurch, parentheses, Snail Church. Take me to Slunk, Slam Dunk.
Yes. I like it.
Anyway, where are we? So then they cut back and Makoto goes into the girls' room to apologize to Mizuki, and he recaps his whole tragic backstory again. And he apologizes.
I'm really happy that he did apologize, because before he said, oh, I should apologize, it was like, but will you really, though? He did it in the same episode, so I was pretty proud. What a man. Doing things within a week.
Ugh. But yeah, Mizuki seems really touched, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it's weird or not. I might be reading too much into it, which is now becoming the catchphrase of our podcast. But like, he goes and he apologizes, but he does it when all the girls are there.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel like usually apologies like that tend to be a little more like private.
Or personal.
Yeah, or personal. And was sort of thinking, it's like, well, so was that a calculated move on his part where he was like, I'm going to do it in front of all the girls so that Minori can see that I did this and like hear my story too. And then part of me is also like, well, maybe he also felt like if he pulled her aside to tell her personally, then she would read too much into it. Because I don't think, like, Makoto's not interested in Mizuki. Like, Mizuki obviously has a big old crush on Makoto, but I don't think he's interested.
No, not really. After like the first little few, in the first kind of episodes, I feel like I'm not feeling vibes between
Yeah.
them. It's definitely with Minori is probably more his style, I think.
Yeah, and like Mizuki's like she's like really happy, but then you cut to Minori and she kind of has like this look on her face where she's
Yeah,
sort of
she
like,
doesn't look happy at all. She's just kind of like, I don't
yeah.
know even how to describe it, but she doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I described it as a colon backslash emoji, the sort of her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, then next we see
The
Maku.
pool cleaning montage. That
Yeah,
one, right? That's next.
Yuki and Uchi. They clean the pool. They have a hose fight.
It's like the second time Uchi even shows up in this episode.
Uchi sprays Yuki in the face with the hose, but keeps it on his face a little bit too long. And, like, same.
He opened his mouth.
I know, like, at first it's kind of fun, and Yuki's like, ah, and, like, opening his mouth and playing, and then he closes his mouth, and it just keeps going against his face. And he's like, he closes his eyes, and he's like, okay, I've had enough, but just keeps going.
He's like, I'm good. Okay, stop.
Okay, no, really, stop, please. And it's like, it goes from, like, playful to a little bit vindictive, and I'm just like, yeah, I would have done that. Yeah, and then they sit at the edge of the pool and they talk. Like, Yuki says that he's probably closest to Yuriko. Like, he says that, like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
that he feels like he and Yuriko have a good chance. He admits that, like, obviously the bridge with Mizuki has been burned.
Mm-hmm.
And Minori, he and she don't really have a relationship. So I feel like in
Yeah.
this moment, he's definitely set his sights on Yuriko. Like, this...
Yuriko. I mean, she's kind of the only choice for him
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. And then we transition very neatly into Yuriko and Yuki going out drinking.
Okay, so I know Yuki is tap and all that, but he's such a freaking dork. Like tap dancing while waiting. It's like, oh my god.
I know. If I were walking out of the station and saw a guy like in a hat like that tap dancing, I would kind of give him a wide berth.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but Yuriko comes out and they're dressed kind of opposite. Like he has that big wide brimmed black hat. He's dressed in all black, and she has like this lacy white cardigan over a white dress. It's very like good versus evil.
Yeah.
Dynamic. And she
Also,
brings.
it really bothered me when she's like, "Oh, you're wearing a hat. I never see hats." Like, "Oh yeah, no, it's to stay warm."
Yeah.
No one wears a hat like that to stay warm. It's not
Also,
a beanie or anything.
It's August. Even if it's a little bit nippy for
It's
August, it's still probably 75 degrees.
I don't even know. In August, there in Tokyo, it's like got to be way hotter than that, right?
I know, yeah, probably in their 80s.
It's more in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, no
yeah,
way
I
he's
guess
cold at night.
Yeah, Tokyo weather follows the calendar almost to a terrifying degree. It will be, like, insufferably hot all summer until literally the day that on the calendar it says is autumnal equinox. Then all of a sudden it's, like, comfortable again. Like,
Yeah.
on Monday it's hot. Tuesday it's fine.
That's why they always say, like, oh, Japan has 4 seasons. So does everywhere else. But
Well,
I
except
guess...
for California. California has summer and not summer. We have two seasons.
Fair.
But yeah, so Yuriko brings those like anti-hangover drinks that you drink before you...
Helpolies or something like
Yeah,
that?
like yeah, which I don't know. I've never seen that in the States. That's a very Japanese thing.
Yeah, and I'm curious why I don't know if anyone's ever thought about it in the States, but it makes sense. I don't know, feel like for like the college kids and stuff it'd be a popular product, but I've never heard of it or seen anything like it.
It's like this quintessential thing that they have in Japan. It's like the size of like a 5-hour energy.
And you buy the convenience store and stuff.
Yeah, you can buy them they have a whole bunch at the convenience store. They oftentimes sell them at the bars that you go to. They'll have them like you can buy some. You drink it before you get wild, get super trashed, and it's supposed to like help with hangover.
Hangovers the next day.
Yeah.
Never actually tried it out myself.
Me neither. Well, we weren't super heavy drinkers, so.
No.
Yeah, and then that also drives you crazy. Is they go to a sake bar, like they get nihonshu, like good sake, but
And they're drinking out of champagne glasses.
They're drinking champagne and wine. Why? Why would you do this?
Why?
Like, why would you go specifically to a place that specializes in really good sake, and then you're like, I'm gonna get some white wine?
I don't know. I feel like that's something Yuki would do. That's part of his, what do you call it, MO?
Yeah. And then they talk about like what they do for fun. Yuriko's like, "Do you go to the library?" And then there had this moment where I felt like I understood the age difference so concretely.
Yeah. How?
Cause she's like, "Well, what do you do for fun? Do you go to the library? Do you go to the aquarium?" And before he can even answer, she's like, "I like aquariums."
I love that she like basically interrupts him and talks
Yeah,
about what she likes before he even gets a chance. That
and
was my favorite part, honestly.
yeah, and he's sort of like what? And she's like, "Yeah, I like aquariums." And he was like, "Okay, so you like aquariums, so we should go." And she's like, I wonder." And it's just this very like, yeah, it just reminds me of kids who bring up something
Oh, and then they just start talking on their own little tangent and stuff.
so that they can talk about it. Like, I guess
Yeah.
adults do that too. I know, but like you could just see, like I felt like in that moment he didn't really know.
What to say, what to do.
Yeah, because it was just like, he's 28. Like, not that 28-year-olds are that much more mature, but usually they can like hold a conversation a little bit better.
Although, well, because Yuriko is how old? Is she
She's
21 or
22, 21, 22,
22?
or maybe
Okay. So,
23. She's
so
like
yeah.
at that fourth year age.
Okay. I was like, yeah, I don't think she was that much younger than him, but enough
But
to.
I feel like the difference between your early 20s and your late 20s is pretty pronounced. Like, I
I
look
guess
back
so.
at when we were 21, and I feel like even though I thought I was mature, I was a lot more immature
Yeah, that's true.
than I am now.
And then what else was I gonna say? Oh, so I also feel like maybe she interrupted and talked about herself because Makoto and Minori, when she was asking questions last time, no one asked her questions back, and so she didn't get to say stuff. So she's like, "Well, this time I'm just gonna talk about what I want to talk about."
She's like, I really need to establish that I like aquariums. This is very important that everybody knows I like aquariums.
But that could go back to that whole playing the game and being calculating and all
That's
that.
true. Because it's our third episode, but for them it's the fourth week. So, it's been a month
Yeah.
and things are moving kind of slowly. And she has been talking about this episode about like having a limited time. Could be that she's starting to be like,
Hmm.
okay, one of these losers needs to take me on a date right now. But then we have this moment where she talks about her very recent breakup. I think I remember us saying that in the first episode or second episode, that she's only been single for about a month.
Yeah.
So it's been very recent. And it was like one of those relationships where it wasn't like they broke up because one of them messed up or because,
It's literally they just didn't have the time.
yeah, they didn't have the time. And she says that part of the reason that she like broke up with him was because she was going to go on Terrace House. So she applied for Terrace House while still in this relationship. So the decision seems to be like really raw and very
Yeah.
recent. Because it's like one of those things where it's like, and the hosts agree when they talk about it. It's like it's not the kind of breakup where like they have no interest in being together. It's just like incompatible schedules. So like
Right. Just
presumably,
timing is bad right
yeah.
now.
So if things got like less hectic, they probably would be interested in getting back together. Like they probably still have feelings for each other.
Right.
Which like I know, we talk about Terrace House is not a dating show, but it is very oriented towards romance. So like even
Yeah.
though like it's not a dating show, like why do you think she would have signed up if she were in a relationship? Like she
That's
obviously
true.
liked him a lot. And yeah, you can go onto Terrace House to make friends and be on television and have this really cool experience and live somewhere interesting.
Maybe it's because she felt the relationship wasn't really going anywhere, couldn't really continue. Maybe that's why.
Is it like one of those like impulsive decisions where you're like, I like this guy, but the relationship's just not making me happy? What if I went onto the show and met somebody else, someone really interesting and stylish and good looking? Because that's who Terrace House
Attracts, yeah.
attracts, yeah. And cast, because that's their whole vibe. What if? And then you apply and you're like, well, I'm not going to get in. And then you do get in because you're tiny and cute. I don't know, like the hosts are, especially Yamasato, like they're a little wary of Yuriko after this moment.
And maybe, oh yeah, because she goes from like talking about this relationship to crying to kind of
Yeah.
quickly being, oh yeah, I'm so glad you're easy to talk to and stuff.
Yeah. So like Yamasato latches onto the "you're easy to talk to" part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he feels like she's specifically distancing herself and is sort of being like, "Oh, you're so easy to talk to. Like, you're a good friend." Like,
Yeah.
designated her lack of interest, like romantic
Mm-hmm.
interest. Everyone else disagrees. They think that one's pretty, like, romantic, but some of the women, especially like you, they're like kind of suspicious of how quickly she stopped crying.
Right.
Like, she went from crying to saying, "You're so easy to talk to," like, way too fast. She, like,
Mm-hmm.
sobered up too quickly. And then also just, like, the way that she dressed and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, bringing the
The
anti,
Hepalese or
the
whatever it's
Hepalese
called.
or whatever it's called, bringing that, like, they felt like it was very, not necessarily calculated, because I feel like calculated or manipulative have negative connotations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it
But
felt very,
positively changing the way you might think about
it was very
her. I don't know.
intentional,
Yeah.
probably is the best word. So it was like,
Yeah.
because and I think I had the same comment last time, is like, I feel like she does things a little more purposefully than the
Mm-hmm.
others. Like, I feel like Mizuki's not the kind of person who can play the game,
Right.
and Minori is, I don't think, has any interest in playing the game. Like, she's a model. She knows she's cute. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
she can just come in and, be a bro. But I think Yuriko kind of has that sort of style where she's a little
Yeah.
more, she kind of
Just,
plans it out.
yeah. I agree.
Tactical.
Also, I mean, I guess it's pretty typical of Yuki to start asking like those personal questions, which led to her talking about like with her relationship and stuff. But at the same time, I felt like it was appropriate in this context of the
Mm-hmm.
show, because like you were saying with the short amount of time and all that. But
Yeah.
still, it's like anytime anyone has like a personal conversation or deep or whatever you want to call it with Yuki, they cry.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like I don't want to talk to him. I don't want him to know my secrets.
he can't be trusted.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, Yuki comes home and he reports on the dinner. And he's like, we didn't kiss, and everyone's surprised. I was sort of like, I would have been surprised if you had kissed. Like, what?
Yeah, like why were you
Um,
expecting to kiss? But whatever.
but he's like, but I did make her cry. And Makoto's like, again?
You know, like really?
It's just like every girl who talks to you ends up in tears.
So we know who's not gonna get a girlfriend out of this show.
I know, but like, so Yuki's sort of like the villain of the episode, but there's this moment right at the end that I feel like kind of feels like the baton of power is being passed over. Because he
Mm-hmm.
comes in and he's like, I feel really bad because I know Uchi's, interested in Yuriko, and, we're having all this development. And I don't know, Yuki seems a little too confident.
Mm-hmm.
He's just sort of like, yeah, we would have kissed, but, and it's just sort of like, yeah, we were just at that stage where we don't need to, like, declare our intentions. We just know. And I'm just like, I think
I don't think so.
you're counting your eggs before they've hatched.
Yeah.
But then, like, says like he feels bad on like, taking Yuriko, and
Because
Uchi's,
Uchi had said he had liked her
yeah,
best right
but
from the get go.
Uchi's like, you mean like, man, I don't care. Like, you go for it. I'm gonna go for it. So he sort of establishes this rival thing. But like the way
Yeah.
that he's sitting on his bed and he's wearing all black and his hair is kind of slicked back, and he has like this look on his face that, like, dude, you've got nothing on me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he has sort of like this bad boy quality to him, sort of like.
With his high pitched voice.
But
So
it's,
bad boy.
but like, he, like, because Yuki's been like sort of the bad guy the past couple episodes,
Mm-hmm.
because he's been a bad person.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this moment, it's sort of like a dark horse appears, and here's Uchi, who's been lying low.
There
I
you go. I
will
got it this time.
lying low this whole time, but sort of like Uchi's sort of like, okay, so like
Uchi
Minori,
emerges.
yeah, Uchi emerges. Like, Minori is over with Makoto. Yuki's kind of making a move towards Yuriko. Like, now it's my turn to step in. It's like he's not gonna be the first one out the gate, but he'll come sauntering.
But he's gonna
later.
win
I don't
or
know.
be at the finish line, I guess, if you want to
Yeah,
put it into that metaphor. I don't know.
yeah. So it's like all of a sudden, like, it's like, oh, so Uchi's gonna play a bigger part.
Yeah. I still like that this is like the third time we see him the whole episode. First was
Yeah.
on the bike, then the pool montage, and then at the very end.
Yeah, but
So I'm hoping we'll see more of him, honestly, because we don't. I feel like we know the least, in a sense, about Uchi or like his personality and all that stuff. So I'm hoping the
yeah,
next episodes
which is
he's
probably
gonna get.
why the ending of this episode is such sort of like a shock or like a moment because we don't know much about Uchi. He's been very like quiet and reserved, and like now he has this moment where he just like literally goes like, I don't care if like you shouldn't feel bad like because the game's not over, and it's like,
Right.
whoa, hi, hello.
Oh, hello.
This wasn't expecting you to say that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Also, I felt like the dubwub electronic music at the end, it was a little weird to me.
Yeah, well, I
But I guess
wonder.
filling in with that, like, ooh, something that is coming or brewing or something. I don't know.
Well, I wonder because we cut this out of the first episode, but the theme song for the Japanese, like on Japanese Netflix, like if you watch it in Japan, they still have English subtitles available, but the music is different because they have different rights.
It's like
So
Taylor Swift, right?
yeah, it's Taylor Swift, and looking at like the playlist, there's like a lot of like there's like Weezer and a lot of Taylor Swift, and so I wonder if
It's different
yeah
than
they
in that
couldn't they
version.
yeah they couldn't get the rights in the U.S. or something, so like the music's different because some of the music does feel very like stuff I encountered when I was looking up cheap music to buy for our podcast. So I wonder if you watch it in Japan what the music's like. That might
Yeah,
be an
probably pretty
interesting.
different, I wonder.
I think if we're still doing this podcast, when the next time one of us goes to Japan to visit, we should do a little
Try and watch
test.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, just like watch the first episode and like just compare the music.
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see. Oh, there was one thing we missed.
Oh, what we miss?
It was when Uchi, Minori, and Makoto were watching like the preview videos
Oh yeah, I
for the
skipped over
show.
that. I got so wrapped up in the date. So I guess while this fourth week, they started to record before the show had been announced. So they're in the house currently filming when the promos first drop. So they're watching the promotional teasers for the show they're on while they're filming the show.
And the one they watch is about Yuriko.
Yeah, so it actually seemed kind of interesting. I wonder if we can dig them up. But it seems like they introduce each person by filming them.
As they announce they're going to Terrace House or
Yeah,
something
so
to
it's
like
like
their friends or
yeah,
family.
so it looks like Yuriko's at like a coffee shop with her friend, and she's like, "I'm gonna be on a show. Do you know Terrace House?" And the girl does that classical,
Oh my god!
and then they kind of talk about it, and she goes like, "Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to wear makeup, like no makeup in front of the camera." And she's like, "Oh, I'll figure something out." And I know, I wonder if we can like dig up
I'm sure
those.
we can. After watching, it's like, maybe we can find that on YouTube or whatever. Because it looked like that's what they were watching it on was on
Yeah,
YouTube.
it's
So
on YouTube. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to see, like, because that's the most not necessarily scripted, but the most probably heavily edited because they're trying to get people to watch.
right,
So it's to like get them in.
entice you. Ooh.
Yeah, and probably.
Oh, I also like that Makoto, like after Yuriko's like, oh, I don't know, what about, wearing no makeup or something like that. Makoto looks at Uchi and it's like, are you okay with no makeup? I don't know. You're all living in the house together, so I don't know if any guy would be expecting the girls to wear makeup the entire time. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know if you can really have a girlfriend if you're not okay with her without her makeup on her face, because you're going to have to see it without any makeup. Personally, I don't think makeup changes your face like that much too crazy, but
Well, I think it's oftentimes when guys are like, take her swimming on the first date so you can see her without the makeup. I feel like they don't really understand what degree makeup can change.
oh, true.
Like, cause it's one of those things. It's like if you wear just foundation, like I can wear primer and then
Concealer.
concealer. That's the word. Concealer, and I'm very good at makeup. And then maybe like some extra stuff on there, and then foundation, and then like a little bit of highlighter. Like probably I'm gonna look like I'm not wearing any makeup. And then I take off my makeup and you're like, yikes, where'd those dark circles come
Yeah.
from? Are you a bog witch? Who let you in here? So I think oftentimes they're like, yeah, no makeup's fine. And then they don't realize it's like, even if they look like they're not wearing makeup, they're probably wearing a little
Wearing
bit of
makeup,
makeup.
yeah.
Which I have noticed the girls are sort of that, like, that Kim Kardashian style where they're like in bed in their pajamas, but they still have mascara on.
Gotta look cute for the cameras.
Yeah, well, I know I
Oh,
would.
and another thing that I wanted to talk about, going
Hmm.
back to Yuriko and Yuki's date, they have their date in Ebisu.
Oh, yeah. Which,
And I don't know how often you actually went to Ebisu. I went like maybe I feel like once or twice, but I never really remember eating there or anything. It's very like I feel like really upper high
yeah.
class, super fancy, more than I can afford as a college student at the time.
Yep.
But my favorite part from remembering was there's like this one area where it's like this long hallway like thing, if that makes any sense. And they do this all the Christmas illuminations. All the Christmas
Oh,
illuminations in
yeah.
Japan are always lots of fun because they'll do it in the trees and they'll have these all these neat setups.
Yeah,
But in Ebisu,
The Ebisu illuminations are apparently like a good one.
no, they're really good. So there's like this hallway like thing, and at the end there's a giant Christmas tree. But one of my friends we were walking with, she's like, "This is like a wedding or something, like set up the way it feels because you're walking down an aisle." So she
Yeah.
grabbed onto my arm and we started walking down the aisle together.
Yeah.
But I think I even went with my dad once when he
Hmm.
was he visiting for Christmas? No, he did come in December once. So I think we walked around and saw some illuminations. But
Yeah.
Ebisu was cool, so I just wanted to mention that. Other
Yeah,
than the
I've
illuminations, I don't really know much about Ebisu. But if you got money, you should check it out.
Yeah, I've never actually like been in the Ebisu area. I've passed through the station.
Yeah.
I remember once some friends and I got like we stopped through and we kind of did some window shopping and bought some food on our way
Mm-hmm.
home while like transferring lines.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a more kind of high class like
Pretty
nightlife
posh.
district.
Yeah.
It's like, it has a lot of bars and high class restaurants. It's like kind of where like the business people go.
A less affordable Roppongi.
Yeah, sort of like a nice roppongi. I don't know. I feel like, when we were college students, I felt like we were just kind of like scraping by so often. Like we could go out and have fun, but we never went to like fancy places.
Oh, no, no, no.
So I'm sort of like looking at like, 23-year-old Yuriko and 28-year-old Yuki like going to like like they go to really nice. Even Makoto and Minori like when they go to the Yakiniku restaurant,
It was like a nice one.
it's like a nice Yakiniku restaurant. It's not,
Like a chain one
Gyukaku.
or something.
Yeah. I'm just sort of like, what life are you guys having
Yeah, it's like when
that you
I
can.
was 23, I wish I could go to Ebisu. The
I
heck?
know. It's like, I know you're not paying rent, but I'm still like, oh, I want to
Well,
go to
but I
those nice
mean,
places.
at least with Yuki, like he's working, but
Yeah.
Yuriko's in school, so I don't know if she's where she's getting the money
Yeah, I don't think
from.
Yuriko or Makoto, either of them, have part time jobs.
No, yeah, they're
Um,
the only ones that I can think of that aren't working. Everyone else has a job.
which I guess, I mean, if their family's saying the money, that's definitely a different
I guess so,
case.
yeah.
I mean, Makoto probably lives at home when he's not on the show. He probably lives at home because his family lives in Setagaya.
I'm sure,
And
yeah.
then Minori's family lives on a completely different island. So they probably are sending her money because, she's more reliant. But I know, I'm just sort of like, I want to go to these nice places. Like, whenever anyone
Yeah.
asks, like, they're like, I'm going to go to Tokyo. What place should I go to? I'm like, what nice restaurants? It's like, if you go to Caesarea, you can get a pizza for like $6.
Whoa.
Go
Or you
to
could go to Tenya or
Yeah. Oh, I miss Tenya so
so
much.
good, it's so good.
Or you could, if you go, it's like go to Cafe Gusto and get the giant plate of fries, and then get the drink bar, and it's unlimited drinks.
There you go.
And they're like, no, I meant something that you could find in like a travel guide or has Michelin stars. I'm just like,
I mean, I've been to a Alice in Wonderland themed restaurant with my friend it was in Harajuku, but it was also in like a weird place. You had to find and it was against a building, and then you go down the stairs to get to it. So, I feel like most of those weird niche or like fancy nice restaurants, you gotta like search around and
Yeah.
find the secret doorway to get to them.
Did you ever go to that restaurant in Harajuku that's like off of Omotesando? That's like I can't remember. I think it's called At Home, and you go
Mm,
in, and the restaurant's broken up into rooms, and each one's decorated like a different room in the house.
what? No.
Yeah, it's like one of the main ones. You like walk past it all the time, like
I
when you're
probably
just.
didn't even think about it.
It's kind of
No.
the low one that has like big windows.
Oh.
But yeah, I went there once, and it's like if you're there for like lunch, they'll put you in the dining room area, so it's like tables and stuff. But if you're just there for coffee, they'll put you in the living room, which has like couches, or in the bedroom, which like is kind of more sprawly. So like they have different sections of the restaurant that's done
That's
decorated.
wild. Ah, man.
Tokyo has the best cafes and like little like casual restaurant places.
I mean, they even have, there's one I really want to go to that's like a bird kind of cafe. Like the food is even like bird themed and stuff.
I know there's like I miss the cafes. I miss the
Me too.
cafes.
My sister, when she went to visit, like this is a couple, like maybe last year or so, she ended up, because I looked up, she always wants to go to like interesting or weird stuff, so that works perfect because it's like, okay, I can find the weird, interesting things. So I sent her to like an owl cafe. And
Oh my
my favorite
god.
picture is because, I mean, she's kind of scared of animals. And so her arm is extended out like all the way, and she's even leaning back, and there's this owl just sitting on her arm. But he even looks confused. Like they both look kind of uncomfortable and confused to be there together.
Owls are a little bit scary.
They
Yeah.
are. They
Well,
turn their head like all the way around.
yeah, I'm really bummed. Cat cafes have been a thing in Tokyo for a long time. We've the two of us have been to a rabbit cafe. There are a couple of
So
those
cute.
in Tokyo. Uh, Maybe I'll post pictures on the Twitter account.
You should. Rabbit and grow fat. I like the name.
That
It's so
yeah,
good.
that's the one that we would go to in
Hmm.
Giyogaoka called RAAGF called Rabbit and Grow Fat, and the rabbit's pooping on the logo.
Yeah.
um, what was I saying? But yeah, but they kind of have expanded in the past couple years, and I think like immediately, like pretty soon after we left, owl cafes became a thing. And I was
Yeah.
so mad because my mother loves owls so much, and she visited me in like the December, January before I left, like a month before I left. And I'm like, oh my god, if I'd known about these, we
Would have stayed just a little longer.
could have taken her to an owl cafe. It would have made her life. But she did get to pet a meerkat, so she
Oh
was pretty
yeah, that's
happy.
true.
Yeah, since we have a little more, not to get super off topic, but
No.
uh, talking about all these animal things, it's Japan's not super. They don't have the same sort of like animal rights groups that the U.S. has. So you have things that would never fly. So when my mom came to visit, we went to Odaiba, which is on an island. And we were like at this big shopping mall, and in the plaza they had a petting zoo just set up.
It was also like kind of wasn't like winter. You said it was winter,
Yeah, it
right?
was
So
like
like
it was the end of
December.
December. It was really
Okay.
cold, very windy, and they had this petting zoo, and it was the most depressing petting zoo I've ever seen. They had a seal in a like a kiddie pool. Like it was a
Of
tall kiddie
course.
pool, but it was a small. There was this like goose that was just freely walking around and attacking people.
I was gonna say you just geese cannot be trusted. You just
They
let
had
him
a
do what he
or
wants.
no, was it a goose? It was a flamingo.
What?
It was a flamingo, and then they
Oh.
had a bunch of like parrots and stuff. But then they had this meerkat that was on a table, and it was like his leg was sort of like fastened so it couldn't run away. But it was just hanging out by itself on a table, and my mom went over to pet it, and he was so cold. He crawled into her sleeve and like curled up
Aw.
in there, and we felt so bad. It
Poor
was just
baby.
like if Japan had had any sort of like animal protection, like maybe not quite as out there as PETA, but like that place would have been shut down.
Oh
But
yeah.
I was like, yeah, that. I talked to my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, that was really sad. Um, but I got to hold a meerkat
On the upside.
on the upside, so I have a really cute photo of her just beaming, just so happy, hold like petting this meerkat.
Aw.
Yeah,
Although I think with like pets and stuff, I don't know. I feel like maybe a lot of Japanese families might not necessarily have like dogs or cats,
yeah.
and at least like in Tokyo and stuff, it's understandable because where are you gonna put the dog if you don't have a yard?
Which is
And I
why
mean,
cat
cats might be a little bit
cafes.
easier, yeah.
Well, that's why cat cafes are a thing. It's like part of the reason there are some cafes here, but the reason they haven't taken off in the same way is because it's like
I have my own cat at home.
you probably have your own in-house cat.
Yeah.
Why would you outsource your cat petting?
I mean, they even now have, like you're saying, the owl cafes, the bird cafes, and then I've seen even reptile cafes with like turtles and lizards and all sorts of neat stuff.
And I know in South Korea they have dog cafes.
Oh, okay.
Which just sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it does. There's puppies everywhere.
Yeah, so that's all that we have about episode 4. So next time we're going to be talking about episode 5, which is titled Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
Ooh, that's going to be fun. I like that. Hopefully. We'll see.
That will be fun. Sounds like
I hope so anyway. You never know with these titles.
We thought this week was going to be a second round of bummer, but it ended up being all right. But yeah, so before we go to some light plugging, we are on iTunes, so please rate and review if you find the time. And thank you to everyone who has rated and reviewed already. We do have a couple.
Thank you so much.
We love you
really
so
appreciate
much.
It.
And then you can find us on Twitter. Our name is @Terrace Neighbor, singular neighbor. So far, we'll announce when the new episodes are up, and then I've been posting kind of some contextual stuff about Tokyo, like posting some photos of the neighborhoods that are featured, and if there's anything else you kind of want us to add in, just let us know. Hopefully, we joked while we were talking about it, sort of this podcast being half Terrace House podcast, half travel guide. Maybe the Twitter can be like that.
But, I mean, we can show some interesting things and maybe even some, like, restaurants that we see, or even about, like, the food that they eat on the show, I think would be kind of a fun thing to kind of post about as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, Courtney, if you have any pictures that you took in your years there.
I will definitely, I'm going to go through some.
Yeah, we can post some of
my
those.
Pictures. I got some interesting stuff. I did a lot of fun stuff.
I posted some pictures I took of Azabu, which I think is the neighborhood that they film it in, that I had taken one day when I was on my way to Roppongi. I think to go see a movie or something. I can't remember what I was doing. But yeah, that's it for episode 3. Thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.